Moving. It's one of those things that starts off super exciting. A new place, a fresh start. But then you look around and it hits you. You have to pack all of this stuff, everything you own. So where on earth do you even begin? Well, that's what we're going to figure out. Let's find a simple plan to turn all that chaos into calm.
And it's so true, right? That feeling of being totally overwhelmed. It's universal. We've all been there. Packing can feel like this gigantic mountain you have to climb. But honestly, the secret is just knowing where to put your foot first. If you nail that first step, it really sets the tone for the entire move.
And that really is the million-dollar question. Deciding what to pack first is the secret sauce to a stress-free move. Seriously, the right strategy is going to save you time, cut way down on that feeling of panic, and make moving day go as smoothly as you can possibly imagine.
Okay, so let's get right to it, the core strategy. There's this one simple principle that will completely change how you look at packing. Think of it as your North Star through this whole process.
And here it is. So simple. The golden rule. Start with the items you use the least. It sounds almost too easy, but it's actually kind of brilliant. Why? Because it lets you make a huge amount of progress without disrupting your day-to-day life at all.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, think about all the stuff you haven't touched in months. Anything hiding in the attic or the garage? Perfect place to start. Then you've got your seasonal stuff, like if it's the middle of summer, go ahead and pack those heavy winter coats and all the holiday decorations. The guest room, old photo albums, those books on the shelf you aren't reading right now. Getting all this stuff boxed up first clears a ton of space and gives you this amazing feeling of momentum. But hold on. Before you even think about taping up a single box, there's a super important preparation phase. Getting this part right is like laying a solid foundation. It just makes everything that comes after it so much easier. This might sound a little weird, but the real first step of packing is not packing. It's decluttering. Think about it. A move is the absolute perfect excuse to finally get rid of things you don't need. Just sort everything into these 4 piles. Keep, donate, sell, and trash. Every single item you can get rid of now is one less thing you have to pack, lug around, and then find a place for later. It's a game changer.
All right, once you've sorted out what you're actually keeping, it's time to gear up. And honestly, the essentials are pretty simple. But having all this stuff ready before you start means no annoying last-minute trips to the store that just kill your focus. And here's a little pro tip. Get a tape gun. Just do it. You will thank me later, I promise.
And if you're wondering where to find all this stuff, it's usually pretty easy. We're using Brisbane here as an example, but the idea is the same everywhere. You can hit up hardware stores, storage facilities, even office supply stores. Oh, and don't forget to ask your moving company. A lot of times they'll sell you the whole shebang.
Okay, you've decluttered, you've got your gear, now for the action plan. Let's break this whole thing down into simple, easy-to-manage steps that'll keep you from getting overwhelmed.
Here we go. This is the whole process in just 5 steps. We've already covered 1 and 2, decluttering and grabbing your materials. Next, you jump into packing all those non-essentials. Then, you carefully secure anything fragile. And last, but this is so important, you label every single box. No exceptions.
Now, when it comes to those fragile items, here's a little trick that will save you a world of hurt. For your plates, don't just stack them flat on top of each other. Instead, wrap each one individually and then pack them in the box vertically, kind of like records in a crate. They are so much less likely to break that way.
And that same kind of detail is key for labeling. You've got to be specific. Don't just scribble kitchen on the side of a box. Write kitchen, pots and pans, or kitchen, everyday glasses. Trust me on this. Future you will be so grateful when you're desperately searching for the coffee maker on that first morning in your new place. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on what to pack first. But what about the stuff you need right up until the very last minute? Getting this final stage of packing right is just as important for a smooth move.
So, here's a classic packing dilemma. Kitchen or clothes? Which do you pack first? The answer is a bit of both, just in stages. Early on in the process, pack away your out-of-season clothes and all those kitchen gadgets you rarely use. The fancy china, the bulky stand mixer. Then, for the final week, you just live out of a small suitcase and use a bare-bones kitchen kit. Easy.
Now, this might be the most important box you pack. This is your open first box. Think of it as your moving day's survival kit. It has everything you'll need for the first 24 hours. The key here? This box travels with you, in your car, not in the moving truck. It is your lifeline for that first chaotic night.
So after all that, let's just boil it all down to the single most important idea to take away from this.
Really, it all comes down to this. When you start with the things you use the least, when you declutter first, and when you label everything, you're doing way more than just packing boxes. You're taking control. You're turning what feels like a totally chaotic, stressful job into a simple, manageable project. Because at the end of the day, having a plan isn't really about the boxes at all. It's about freeing up your brain space so you can focus on the exciting part, starting a new chapter in your life. Once the logistics are handled, you can start dreaming about the good stuff. Happy moving!